Welcome to Tech Notice, guys. Remember I made this video called how to get more bokeh? The closest focusing distance has the most blur in the background. If the subject goes further away, depth of field will be so big that the background will be so much more in focus. So basically, and if you haven't seen that, click up there. But today I'd like to show you or tell you the tips. How can you get more bokeh or background blur with single lens without changing any lenses, because on the previous one you had to change lenses. So today I'd like to give you some tips how you can get more bokeh with exactly the same lens, whatever lens you have. Here's some tips how you can get more bokeh and get these nice background blur photos. Let's go. By the way, look at this place here. This is absolutely amazing. We're not in the studio because it's a nice autumn weather and it's beautiful colors, so we're here in the forest. This place is called actually Judges. I actually got married in this venue. There's a nice little venue over there, so if you want to check this place out, the link is in the description as well. For a subject, I'm going to use this little battery over here. Can you see that? So this is going to be our little subject what we're going to take photos of. I am using my Sony a7S II with a 90mm macro lens and a battery grip as well. If you want to check what gear I'm using, I'm always listing everything in the description below, so you can find some links over there. The first tip is a very obvious tip. Your camera has an f-stop. So the bigger the number is, the less bokeh you have. The smaller the number is, the more bokeh you have. So whatever lens you have, make sure that you take the f-stop as low as possible to take the photo. So I'm gonna put this little battery over here. I'm going to take a photo with an f5.6 for example, and then I'm gonna dial it down as small as I can, and as you can see there's gonna be some massive difference of the background blur. So check this out. I'm gonna keep the camera in the same place. I'm actually gonna take this photo on f10 so you can see the difference. Boom, this is f10, and now we're gonna move it to f2.8. See the difference? There's a massive background difference. One is very blurry and then the other one is extremely blurry. So remember that. Tip number one, always take the f-stop as small as possible. So tip number two is put something in front of the lens. Just remember guys, bokeh doesn't always have to be in the back of the subject. It can also be in the front of the subject. In here you can see that I'm going to take a picture of this battery, and you can see that in the background is quite blurry, but it's not like something unbelievable. But now look, if I'm going to add a few leaves in front here, and you can always like kind of figure what look around and how you can do it. You can see that you can get this like really nice white or different types of bokeh in the frame. So just remember guys, having something in front of the lens can also give you more bokeh, especially if you're shooting in the nighttime and you have lights in front of the lens, that will give you massive bokeh as well. Okay guys, tip number three is move the subject away from the background. So it doesn't matter what lens you have, but if your subject is very close to the background, there is no difference in the shallow depth of field, but everything's going to be in focus, which means you're not going to get very much bokeh. So what I mean is I'm just going to put this battery here on that tree, and I'm going to take a picture of that battery. As you can see, the background and the subject are both pretty much in focus. But now, if we move it a little bit sideways and taking a picture like this, and the background now, the trees over there are far away, which means gonna get a lot of background blur. Look at this. Can you see the background is absolutely smushed to bits? So remember guys, move your subject away from the background to get the more blur with the same lens. Tip number four is to go as close as you can to the subject. So I'm going to take a picture of this battery on that tree, right? So if I'm far away from the tree, and I'm going to do it on f10 as you can see. Now you can see that there is not that much of a difference. So I was quite far away from that battery and the background blur is not that good, but exactly the same settings, right? And I'm going to take a photo of just being closer to the battery. And boom, look at the background now. The background is just blurred. So this is just how the physics works. The closer you are to the subject, the more background blur you're gonna get. Remember that guys. Tip number five, and the last tip from me, is to put a light behind the subject. Now, I really like these photos or this bokeh effect when there is like these nice circular bokeh balls behind the subject. But how you can get that is if you have a light behind the subject. So I'm just gonna try to attempt to do it over here, and let's see what happens. Basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this battery over here, right? And I'm gonna go and put my phone flash in the background over there, and then see if I can get a bokeh ball. So watch that shot over here. I'm gonna take another shot without the flashlight as well, so you can see the difference. As you can see from these two photos, when having the flashlight really far behind, as far as you can, the bigger this bokeh ball gets. And this is a cool little tip if you're shooting anywhere outside or just trying to see if there's a light or like maybe car really far away, and if you have like someone who you're taking picture of or even filming. Remember, these tips work also for filming, so kind of keep them in mind. If you have a subject in front of you really close, and then something's really far away like a little light, and then you're taking a picture of the subject, then you're gonna have a nice little ball in the background. Who doesn't want these nice bokeh balls in the background? Well, I do. Do you? Anyway, these were the 5 tips, and guys, if you have any other tips, please comment below. Okay, I think it's gonna get dark now. It's like 4 o'clock. Look at that. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like below. I would massively appreciate that. If you're new here, consider subscribing, because content like this is coming out every single week. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, there's every reason to subscribe, because there's a lot of good content. Check out my channel. There's quite a lot of good content. Okay? Andrei Pusakov, he's my friend from Estonia. He says, well, it's written in Estonian, but basically what he's saying here is that he's been doing photography for almost 10 years now, and he still found some good useful info of the previous video. Well, thanks, Andrei. And then MV says, very useful info. Well, thanks, guys. Okay, time to pack down now. It's getting really dark. I don't want to be in the forest alone, so I'll see you later.